And you can put it down, you want my baby to work in those countries. But in the United States, where they baby us over here, we are the babies of the world. We the spoiled brats of the world in the United States. That's why I tell people all the time, hey, I don't know about you, but I'm not going nowhere. They can have, I told the cat today at the barbershop, they can have that average. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for a new episode of Likeable Figgas. Hi. Okay, got this situation. So I'm going to thank y'all for tuning in again. It's a bunch of interesting topics we got to talk about today, and I'm ready to dive into it. Okay, we're going to dive in. First, I want to dive into the book of the week. I'm going to start a new segment called the book of the week. The book that I've been reading throughout this week. The book of the week. It's a segment I like to basically give y'all a book to read, a book that I've been reading for the past week. Tell you some things about it, good things, bad things, things that I like, things that can help you out, things that help me out. It's just this book that I've been reading. It's like the Bible to success. This book has everything in it. Now, you may have read a version of this book, but this book right here is only this book with extra 2 chapters in it. They skimmed the 2 chapters out of this book to make this book. Now this book is very helpful. Very helpful. Very helpful. I done read it probably like 5 or 6 times already. But this book is life-changing. Life-changing. The words within these pages. This is more than a book. It's basically a course. This is a success course. That if you ever get a chance, you should most definitely pick you up a copy. I think it's like probably, it's not expensive at all, but probably pick you up a copy of this book. I promise you will not regret it. I promise you. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another episode of Likeable Figgas. There's a lot of things I want to talk to you guys about tonight, and this Mardi Gras message I want to drop it. But no, let me tell y'all. So I know y'all heard about this Russia, Ukraine, and shit like that. I know y'all heard about it. It's all over everybody. And everybody, I know y'all wish y'all had my boy Donnie back. Because I wish my boy Donnie would been in that bitch. My boy Donnie should have never left that dude out. I don't know what they kicked my boy out. They should have never left my boy out that motherfucker. For real. None of this shit would happen. My boy was in there out because he would have did that shit quick. He told Pooh, stop acting like a fuck nigga, bro. Get them folk what they want. You gonna get your shit back. You gonna make sure them niggas pay you back. Then get them both what they want. Them both want their independence. But now somebody asked me earlier today, if they go to war, if Russia go to war with Ukraine and the United States go and help them since Ukraine is the United States ally, shit like that. They asked me, are you gonna go back and will you go back if they call you back? I'm like, first off, out of everybody, they ain't gonna call me back. Some motherfuckers didn't want me when I went there the first time. They ain't finna, I'm not going nowhere. They damn sure ain't calling me. They like this. It's people signing up to go to the military boot camp at school. They ain't hurting nobody. It's not hurting nobody. Boot camp is full. All services, Navy, Army, Marines, they full. They ain't hurting. Nobody got a shot. You know how many motherfuckers that just hurting Like really they're just hurting for money or hurting for opportunity, ain't got nothing to do after high school, and we're just gonna go to that shit. It was a bunch of them. I was one of them. Like, hey, opportunities start to close in on you. You ain't got several opportunities. Hey, you gotta take what's on the table, man. And for me, I would say, Marine Corps worked out good for me. It worked out good for me. Now, I'm not telling anybody to go to the Marines. I'm not telling nobody to join the armed services. But I'm telling you, for me, like I ain't gonna say private, but a urban living kid that was in a private street environment, it was good for me. Now, it might not. I'm not saying everybody. It's not for everybody because it's a lot of bullshit you got to deal with. Also, you got to deal with a lot of bullshit when you're in the military, and then you have no say so. All that shit you think you're gonna be independent, stand on your own. You have no say so when you sign your rights away. Once you sign the rights away, it is OV. They own your ass. So I'm not politicking or making no one think that you should go through that. But for us, them saying that they're gonna start, or anyone thinking that they can start a draft back and have people against their will go to defend this country, nah, that's never gonna happen again. They seen that the shit wasn't working when they had it in the 50s and the 60s. When they had it back then, they seen that the shit didn't work. Because you know what? It's all fine and dandy when you got a goddamn draft, but when it's time for their kids to get drafted, because if you're a U.S. citizen, your name was in the draft pool. So once you turn 18, you was in the draft pool. Just so happened, powerful motherfuckers had older kids that was, over 18. So guess what? They get drafted too. When they see that, hey, goddamn, it's a chance that I might lose my child too. But we gotta stop this. We gotta stop this. We cannot be having no tomorrow war type shit going on in the United States. This shit gotta be volunteer. So we want volunteers. Matter of fact, we're going to tell the drill instructors things to ease up on the recruits. So it'll be more pleasant environment, because even though boot camp was hard when I went, they'll put their hands on you, but in the 70s and 80s, talking about putting your hands on, they was goddamn hurting motherfuckers, man. Motherfuckers getting seriously injured at boot camp. So it easing up, and it started to get a lot more incentivized, enticing to join, so they don't have to have a trap. Because just think about it, they start paying people, they start getting benefits, they start getting the thing. So military wasn't a bad gig for everyone, especially with people that you knew, like at the time, you had to be real with yourself. At least I did anyways. I knew at the time after high school, I knew that college was not going to be well for me. I knew I was going to go there and fuck up somebody's money. Sally Mae's, mine, my mama's, whoever. I knew at that time I was going to fuck up somebody's money. They weren't for me. They weren't for me. I was bigger. Like granted, I was a good student. I was a damn A, B, sometimes C student. So it ain't that I couldn't learn. It just the classroom, I just knew college. I was doing with all my homeboys. That shit was just went left real quick. I knew it was, so I had to figure out something. And on top of all of that, I had child on me. So guess what? I ain't got time to get no. I can't be paying someone. Someone needs to pay me. So guess what? I took my bag to the Marine Corps. That's how it happened for me. Different strokes for different folks. I'll just say that. But I'm just saying here to say, don't focus and be worried about them starting the draft back. That's not going to happen. I don't give a damn who they're going to go with. It's not going to happen. And the U.S. people, it shouldn't be worried about going to that extent for the little shit that's going on right here. Like, think about it. We was in Iraq since 01. It's 2022. Where they just left Iraq. And bro, they just started to drop off of that. They ain't gonna start to drop off that. They got plenty of people ready to die for this motherfucker. Just believe. You may not be, and the people that are around you may not be ready. But there's some of us, myself, that was ready to die for the country. Ready to put their life, was willing to put your life on the line for the country. Now, that might not be you, and it might not resonate in your mind. But there's some people out here that, hey, it's no better cause. What better cause than me to keep the people safe that I love in this country? by sacrificing myself for them. Now, like I just told you, different strokes for different folks. Now, me myself personally, I've been purposely trying to avoid this, I would say, topic. I've been trying to avoid it. I've been purposely not looking at social media because I didn't want to hear nothing about it, because I know 90% of the stuff that they tell the U.S. citizens, it's not what it really is. So I'd rather not get filled up with the bullcrap. But for the podcast purposes, I've been told that I should look into it and be able to speak on it. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to look into it together. Okay? So let's see what this is all about. The Ukraine and the Russian thing. Let's see what it's all about. And let's see, is it some really bullshit that they're giving us? And we're going to read through the lines as we go.
A recent buildup of Russian military assets in Crimea and the eastern Ukrainian border is stoking fears that simmering tensions between the two countries will break out into something more.
In response to the alliance's military activities that threaten Russia, we have taken appropriate measures.
Ukrainian intelligence reports Russian troop numbers in the region are at about 80,000.
Hold on. Why that? What that guy? I don't know. He Asian. He look Asian. To me, that dude just look Asian. But hey, we'll talk about it. Shit.
Not only along the border of Ukraine, but along the border of the democratic world, for thousands of kilometers to the north and to the east of our border with Russia is no democracy.
Relations between the two countries soured after the 2014 Ukrainian revolution, when pro-EU Ukrainians ousted then President Viktor Yanukovych for rejecting an economic integration deal with Europe in favor of a deal with Russia. That same year, Russian troops annexed Ukraine's Crimean Peninsula after pro-Russian residents there voted to join the Russian Federation. Soon after, Donetsk and Luhansk separatists.
One thing I see about this over there. Now, we protest in America. We do. It has been some big protests in the past couple of months, especially in the past year or so. It's been some big protests. But these motherfuckers here, they really protest, bro. There's a lot of people in the streets. There's a lot of people in the goddamn streets.
Held their own referendums, declaring independence.
And they really don't explain about the goddamn what they believe in.
The Ukrainian government that nearly 30 ceasefire deals have failed to end. In July 2014, the crisis went international after the downing of a Malaysian Airlines passenger plane in Ukrainian airspace, killing 298 people.
See,
Independent
that's the shit they try to cover up. You heard about the Malaysian planes a couple years ago.
In Ukrainian territory. In 2016, NATO deployed troops to Eastern Europe, calling it an effort to deter further Russian involvement. But Russia has reportedly engaged in other tactics, including cyber warfare against Ukraine. The latest military buildup could ratchet up the violence further, with civilians on both sides caught in the crossfire.
It doesn't matter if I believe there will be a war or not. There are rumors that we should be prepared. I was prepared when the region was bombed back in 2014. There are still burnt houses here.
With lives on the line and Ukraine's borders under threat, all eyes are.
See, let me tell you something about those type of countries and the country we live in, the United States. Have you ever wondered why no one has, since the trade centers, that's an anomaly, that doesn't happen. But have you ever wondered how do places like that get bombed and be crushed and buildings just look horrible and it just be deserted? Like, they go through a lot of shit in those type of places, right? Have you ever wondered why we don't do that over here in the United States? Because every country around the globe, they are not going to damage their cash cow. America, we are the highest consumers in the world. We consume the most from every country. We get gas, oil, coals, gold, diamonds, fucking minerals, fucking everything. Check your tag on anything that you got. It ain't made in the United States. It's made in another country because they got cheaper labor. They got lower labor laws. You can put a fucking old grandmama to work. They can have that because, not to get off subject, we're going to jump back on it, but I want to explain this because I hear a lot of black people say, oh, we need to be more in time with our roots and know where we come from, know that our history started before slavery. We had a history before slavery. And true enough, we did. We did have a history before slavery. True enough. Our lineage of the ancestors that we thrive are from, the ancestors that we are from, true enough, that those people came from a culture that was from Africa. And they did things a lot different than what black Americans do in the United States. True. But when you take a person, when you take a generation, one set of generation over there, wherever they were young, and you break the culture, and they have the culture stripped from them, okay? You strip the culture from them. Now it probably be ones and twos that keep the culture. So they tell it to their kids, but every person don't. But then guess what those kids gonna be? They're gonna be raised up with a whole nother culture, under a whole nother set of rules. So guess what? The same way that you're trying to tell your kids about, oh, back in the day we did this. Now, some things that your kids take heed to some things, but not all things. All things your kids do not take heed to. So that's how culture dies. So and another culture is born, because now the kids are you got to think about it. It's an old grandmama. She has the African roots tied within her. She telling her kids, she telling her grandchildren, hey, they this is how we talked in the old country. And they had the language and everything. But those kids seen that, hey, now think about this. They seen that, hey, only time grandma was able to do that is in her privacy of her own home. Or she always got beat, or someone penalized her for doing these things. Or I seen my granddad get penalized for practicing the old culture. So eventually those kids grow up basically turning their back on that culture, because that culture is meant at that time was meant oh, if you practice that, you get in trouble. Basically, okay? So now you got to think about it. Generation after generation, this happened. Now think about it. They say we was enslaved for 400 years. 400 years we was in slavery, okay? Probably more. Now, if we was enslaved those 400 years, how do you expect a African culture to live on through 400 years of you're not supposed to practice that? But guess what started? You started a new culture, new practices, of new ways of doing things by the laws of this land. So guess what? And those laws and the new culture that was created our ancestors from the places like Black Wall Street, places like Rosewood. When you seen, we had a whole nother culture. So yes, our culture was we had culture well before Africa, well before slavery, I mean. But that culture is not what we are. We are Black Americans. We have no ties to Africa. Now, don't get me wrong, because I just see y'all faces. And my lie just went up when I said that. But don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we are not African to the core. I'm not saying this. So don't beat me up, people. I'm not saying that we're not African. I'm saying that it was another culture created that was for Black Americans, and it was a successful culture because there was a bunch of Black Americans that became successful businessmen. And we see this, we see traces of it all throughout history. Even when it was rough and harder to do, it's traces of it. And you can go back and learn about all these things. So, yes, I understand that everybody wants to say, oh, we came from kings and queens from Africa. That cannot be true. I think I said it once before. That cannot be true. Every Black person cannot come from a lineage of kings and queens. It's no way that can be true unless some incest shit was going on. That's all. Because think about it. If everybody came from kings and queens, who was you ruling over? It had to be some regular people that had kids and had kids and had kids that was under a king and queen. So yes, we have a lineage where people came from kings and queens, but that's not everybody. It's not made for everyone to be everyone a king and queen. No way, Jose. It don't work like that. And y'all know it though. But I guess y'all waiting on me to be the one to say it. Guess what? I will say it. I will. Let's get back and watch the last few seconds of this episode.
Looking to see what Russia will do next. Sarah Bolter, TRT World.
One thing about it, they don't mind having their buildings shot up and shit. Their buildings be shot to shit in other countries. In other countries, their buildings be shot to shit. And I've been in a few other countries. And ain't no other countries, ain't no America. And I wish people that ain't never left this country understand that. Please understand it. But let's see what Putin has to say about this Russian shit. For some reason, I don't know, he looked like a sick fuck, sure enough. But my boy Donnie fucked with him. So, hey, I want to hear him out. Let's see. He fucked with my boy Donnie. That's the show. He most definitely did. He most definitely fucked with old Donnie Trump.
Will Russia go to war with Ukraine? All week, you've heard numerous answers to this question. In Ukraine, 71% of the people believe their country is already at war with Russia.
Them folks say they already at war.
Crisis. And all the answers are hidden in history. Did you know there was a time when Kiev was more powerful than Moscow? There was also a time when Ukraine and America were adversaries. Tonight, we're bringing...
Man, listen, I don't know about y'all, but just think about it. You know how miserable it would have to be cold all the time? Like, it's always cold, and it's just always cold outside. In Russia and Germany and Ukraine and all the places like that, like, it's cold, son. And I ain't talking about, like, see, I'm in the South. Like, we basically wear a thin jacket year round and we good. I can't go up north because I can't fuck with that cold. These folks stay where they get like, you know what I'm saying, 5-6 feet of snow a day. Like, I'm talking about some deep ass snow. And they just be having some puffy ass jackets on and shit. Like, I don't know, I couldn't fuck with it. I could not fuck with this cold, boy. That's why I don't think America, if they do go to war, I don't think America gonna help them by sending troops, really. Because you will really have to find the right type of troops, because you fuck around seeing a fucking Florida cat, Alabama cat, Mississippi cat, Georgia cat, to that cold. We don't operate good like that. Texas cat, you know, Louisiana cat, you send one of us to that cold, we don't operate in cold weather good, man. So that's really wouldn't be beneficial for the United States to do some shit like that. Because we'll be somewhere trying to be warm over a bear or some shit. So let's see what she talking about.
All these stories, we will tell you why Russian President Vladimir Putin is obsessed with Ukraine.
That's a strong word. If he obsessed, that ain't gonna they ass for real.
There was a state called Kievan Rus. This is where it was located. The Slavic people lived here. The city of Kiev was their capital. Between 950 and 1015, the Kievan Rus was ruled by Grand Prince Volodymyr. In Russian, his name is Vladimir. In Ukrainian, Volodymyr. And as fate would have it, these are also the names of the presidents of these two countries today. Anyway, Russians, Ukrainians, and Belarusians.
Well, she's trying to make this shit like this shit some hater shit. They fighting over the right spelling of the name.
In the centuries that followed, and for a lot of it, Ukraine was under Russian rule. In the 1900s, the two were Soviet republics. Russia, the most powerful of the 15 republics, and Ukraine, the second most powerful. It had defense industries, large agricultural lands, and housed much of the Soviet.
Hey, listen, don't y'all know Putin? This man been in fucking power as the fucking president. This nigga did 2 terms back from 1999 to 2008. That's 1 term. Those are 2 terms that he done. Then he came back in 2012 and did 2 more terms and still president right now. So that's 9 years as today. 9 years and 293 days as today as the president. Listen, you know how you gotta be scaring motherfuckers to goddamn, because I don't even think they not a democracy. So it basically is a motherfucker just stepping up and saying, hey, I'm the president. Now fight me to the death for it, motherfucker. Because you had one person, Dmitry Medvedev, whatever his fucking name, he did 4 years flat. That's it. Putin was not playing. Putin was on his ass. Putin came in at 99, and it's 2022 now. And he only missed 4 years out of that. Boy, listen. You talk about corrupt. God damn. And then he was born in 52. Yes, sir. You know, he been around a long time doing some corrupt ass shit. The more and more the more and more I look into this Ukraine and Russia thing, the more and more I'm realizing that when them motherfuckers rushed the state capital, U.S. Capitol, when they rushed the U.S. Capitol, I think that was advice Putin gave to Donald Trump. Like, to set this up. Hey, they trying to get you out of office. You need a crisis. Send some motherfuckers to the Capitol and let them rush you and do something. Because basically, Putin has been doing that in goddamn Russia and Ukraine since damn 98, 99. Damn, Donnie. The secret's getting exposed.
I want to really go over 6 things that really plague people. And one of these 6 things you will yourself be plagued by. And it's probably that one thing that's holding you back, because it's something that we all got. We all experience these things on a certain level. Some of us maybe experience more than one. Some of us may not experience number 1, but we all experience these, and they're holding us back in life. And these things that I'm talking about, I want to speak on the 6 basic fears of humankind. These things are everyday experiences that we experience that have you thinking too much into your actions. The actions that you should be taking, these things make you tiptoe before you commit those actions. Tiptoeing to commit those actions, I'm basically saying, if you're thinking about starting your business, or you thinking about asking a girl on a date, or you thinking about, like, do this disease run in my family line? There's a lot of things that come across our mind that we have these thoughts, but we don't understand that the thoughts that we have is the main reason that we won't act, and it's the main things that are holding us back. And the 6 basic fears basically are the fear of poverty, the fear of old age, the fear of criticism, the fear of loss of a loved one, the fear of ill health, and the fear of death. Now, let's go over these things one by one and take time and address those things and really evaluate yourself from the surrounding, your world that you're living in. Evaluate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10 on how each one of these are impacting your life. And if you was able to overcome it, are you able to progress more in life? Because I know I had to do this, and once I came really dialed in and started to really think about the things that are holding me back, I really understood that, dang, if I was just to address these things and attack them head on, maybe I could progress a little bit more. I mean, all is want to progress. So if you come to a jam where you feel like, hey, I'm stuck, but I want to go to the next level, but I can't, hey, this won't hurt to do. This lesson or this little exercise won't hurt to do.
Let's go over all 6 of them one by one and basically get some more insight of what they are and how we can overcome them. And let's not be fooled. The fear of poverty, that's almost a human reaction. You would think that when I say men, I'm talking about mankind, and most humans in this world, most people don't want to be broke, because it's a lot of things, it's a lot of struggles that come with being broke. Even though you'll hear a rich person, a wealthy person, they will say, hey, I had less problems when I was broke. That is a figure of speech, because none of those people that's saying that, I guarantee you this, they will not go backwards and have those broke problems. You don't want the poverty. That's why it's natural to have a fear of poverty. Ain't nothing wrong with it. It's just something that we have to adjust to and keep an eye on, pay attention to, so we can know how to react once we feel in the fear of it, and we know how to conquer that fear. Because fear is natural. Fear is something that all of us are going to have. We just got to learn how to conquer it. The second of the 6 basic fears that I want to get into is the fear of old age. And we always hear people say, oh, I'm too old to start something new. I'm too old man, I'm getting too up in age, man. I'm 50 years old. I can't be starting no new business. We always hear people and it basically, when you start using your age as an excuse not to do something, that's you having the fear of your old age. You fearing that I'm too old to get this accomplished, or I don't have enough time to do it. So you basically so scared of your age till you will not do something on the account that you believe that you're too old to do it. Start looking into these things. Like, when you have the fear, oh, Bro, ain't no better time than the present. Like they always say, you know when the best time was to plant a tree? The best time was 20 years ago. But you know when the next best time is? Today. Like so, no matter how old you is, bro, if you got today, you got to start. So, don't get fooled by your age. If you are living today, you are old enough to get anything you want to do accomplished. So don't fear old age, man. That's a crazy fear anyways, man. Niggas still alive, her God didn't get it. Third fear will be something that we all do and we most definitely get in return. And we might call these people haters if they do it to you, but you don't call yourself a hater if you do it to someone else. And this fear will be the fear of being criticized. Like, we do it all the time. We may call it, oh, janking, I'm jonesing, oh, I'm burning him up, or whatever. People, we have a fear of someone talking down on us, of saying, and I would say, all right, perfect example for my race. Now, I see me and my lady who was in a restaurant the other day, peeping this out. White guys coming there, relaxed, t-shirt, pair of jeans, pair of flip-flops, very casual. No one bats an eye. Black guy walk in with the same thing on. Most black people look at that person and say, what he got on? Why he wearing it? Not even thinking like, oh, he trying to dress like a white dude. He got flip-flops. He trying to dress like, bro, that's criticism. Like, so when I say the fear of criticism, I'm talking from both ends. When you're doing it, if you're criticizing someone, you have that's you showing your fear. You have a fear of understanding that person, understanding of why that person is doing this. And if you doing certain things, oh, I want to wear this shirt. If the shirt look good to you, but you think someone else will talk about you wearing that shirt, you fear that they're going to criticize you. So we walk through life every day fearing this thing and not paying attention to, bro, so I hear people say, oh, I don't fear nothing but God. But when I go down this list and me just sit back and evaluate these people, by the way that they act, I can see which ones that you fear. So it's more than just, oh, I don't fear nothing but God. It's a lot of things that you fear. You just got to start paying attention to what it is, because the fear of criticism is most definitely a fear for most human beings. This is another one that I believe that most people will agree with, because just out the last couple years, especially 2020, from 2020 up to today, I can honestly say that people will agree with this. It's the fear of ill health. Because when COVID hit the scene, I done told countless individuals, anyone who know me, they know I done told them, you get sick up here first. Once this becomes sick, then this becomes sick. Like when you allow sickness in your mind to say, oh, yes, I can get sick. Yes, I can get cold. Like when you start affirming those things and really thinking that that's possible for you to experience, most times those are the people that experienced it. Because basically you had a fear of it, and you fear, like, listen, faith and fear is the same thing on opposites of the scale. Like the negative is fear and the positive is faith. Okay? So if you fear something, you have the same or maybe more chance of experiencing that thing than you do if you had the faith that it's not going to happen to you. Because I was telling a lot of people, like, I can't get COVID. I cannot get cold. I cannot get sick. I cannot get cold. I cannot get sick. I say this all the time. And since it's been on the scene, I still go anywhere I want. I still go and before I left my job, I was still going to work every day the same way. I still go to the same gyms, parks, whatever I feel like I want to do, I done it. I went to Vegas during COVID. I went on multiple trips in COVID. Like, because I don't have the fear of COVID. I don't have a fear that my health can be affected by it. Because it only is going to affect you if you have the fear that it can affect you, because your mind will let it in. Your fear is basically the gateway for things to happen to you. If you're fearing it, and you always fear, just like you see injured players, 9 times out of 10, they always be injured, right? Because they have the fear of an injury. Anthony Davis, for example. Anthony Davis, he has a fear of injuries. He does not want to get hurt. And he's thinking about that all the time. Like, man, I just hope I don't get hurt. Oh, man, I don't want to get hurt. He's fearing this all the time. And guess what happened? He gets hurt. But when you have other athletes, like, let's take, what's the athlete? Think of an athlete that don't get hurt. Those guys, they're not fearing that they're going to go out there and get hurt. A running back can run the ball 100 times a game, 40 times a game, and don't get hurt. Run the ball two times in that game and get hurt. It's because at some point in time, he done let that fear of thinking about injury get inside his head. It allows itself to manifest. Because anything that's feared or revered is going to happen in the presence. It's going to happen. If you just living to the point where you fearing it so much, or you revering it so much, it's something good that's about to happen. Like you hoping that it's happening. Those things happen because that's what you let in. And we're talking about fears, but we're letting you know that if it can happen on this end, the fourth fear will be, and this is a fear that I believe that most people will agree with. Like, without getting to the nitty-gritty, without just really dumping inside their spirit. Like, I believe that this fear, most people will agree with it, because most people, we all got people that we love in our life. From your kids to your significant other to your parents, grandparents. We always got a close friend. We all got someone in our life that is very important to us and we love. So the fourth fear will be the fear of loss of a loved one. When this fear, even though we have this fear, it's still considered as a fear that holds people back sometimes. Because you can think, a person can be on a track of doing something, and just say someone close to them died, and they lose all motivation for doing whatever they was trying to do. They lose the motivation to do it. You can't get them out. They just taking the death real hard. Like, basically, the way that you experience that death after that person passed, it shows you that while that person was alive, you feared that it was a chance that person could die and leave you by yourself. You feared that. That's why you taking it so hard once that person is gone, because it hurts. And it's hard to like find something to keep pushing you forward when you're dealing with this. When you're dealing with the fear, it's hard to find something to keep you pushing forward. So, like I told a partner of mine, God rest her soul, he lost his mama. But he working on, and like, if you ask me, my nigga, he close. I can see it. So I don't know if he can see it, but I'm from afar, and I can see that he's close. He's very close. But his mama died. So instantly, when I seen that he posted that his mama had passed, I reached out to him to let him know, hey man, like, I understand, I'm sorry for your loss. I understand, but bro, you close. Do not take your foot off the pedal. Bro. Like, experience and go through your grieving period. But bro, stay focused on what you got, because I know how I've seen it too many times in the past where people will let the loss of a loved one throw them off track. When not saying that you got to be heartless towards the death. I'm saying that, bro, your life is still moving. Time is still going. So everything that is for you is still possible to have. It's still possible, even though it's hard and it's tough to go through. But I just wanted to be that voice of reason where he can actually see that, damn, I am close. Like, I don't know if he feel like he close. I can see that he close. I see that he close. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to give him that encouragement to make sure that he in the mindset to keep going. Because, bro, things happen, and once it's hard to go and you don't feel like going, that's when you need to go the most. It works out better that way. It works out better, and you get more from it. When you do something that you don't feel like doing, you're doing it even though you don't feel like doing it at that time. You get more out of it. And last, but certainly not least, is another one that I believe everyone will agree with me with. It's the fear of death. I believe that most human beings are scared of dying. Like when death, they consider death as a bad thing, as something they don't want to happen. But when experiencing, like thinking about death, we have to think about death the same way we thought about birth, as if a person is birthing a child. We look at that as being a part of life, right? So just because death is considered to be bad and it's been given to us as a bad thing because that person is no longer here with us no more, that doesn't necessarily that we got to keep it as a bad thing. It could be something that is happening. Think about it. Think about it in this direction. Death happens. No one knows what happens after death. No one knows. Like we has no idea what happens after a person cannot able to talk and experience this life with us. When they can't do that and they go on to experience whatever death is, no one knows what it is. But we've been trained to think that it was something bad or something that we don't want to happen. Like I was asking, like this is the way I think. Why death can't be a good thing? People talk about how cruel this world is, how bad this world is, and all this. But when a loved one dies, and now they no longer got to experience this bad, cruel world that you just say, oh my goodness, the world is just so fucked up. They no longer got to experience this no more. But they die. But now you sad. So it's like a double entendre. Like you want your, like they say, like girls say to men, oh, you want your cake and eat it too. Oh, you want your cake and eat it too. Like, bro, you can't say the world is so bad and fucked up, but be sad when someone dies. Because we don't know what happened. Death could be the best thing to experience as a human being. It could be this. But we've been trained just because that person is no longer with us and we got to experience how selfish we are just by wanting that person to be here for us. We got to experience that selfishness. So we look at it like, oh, death is a bad thing. But death could be the best thing to ever happen to human beings. We never know. So why sit back and fear that death? Why fear? Don't fear death, like embrace it. Embrace it, because we don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. And when you don't know, why do the negative part of it? Why do negative if you don't know? I'd rather just experience the positive. So to me, and like if you just think this is not just for the podcast, this is how I really feel. Like I consider death as a good thing. Good thing. Because I'm the one thing that everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. So if you experience, like, yes, not saying you're not going to feel sadness of a person's leaving. Yes, you forced to, you human. So yes, that is a human emotion. So you're going to feel it. But I'm saying it's not going to make me crawl into a hole and not keep pushing forward. No, I believe that you still need to be pushing forward. Like, long as you got life to live. Long as you got life to live, push forward. Push forward. That was basically the 6 basic fears of mankind. Now, not saying that that's only 6. It may be a lot more. It may be a lot more that we need to fear. But that's only 6, and that's the 6 basics, okay? Now, I hope y'all got something out this podcast. Like, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed making this episode. But if you did, and if you like what you heard, do me a favor. If you can hit the subscribe button and like and comment and tell your friends about Likeable Figgas, because this is a channel that I'm trying to grow. I got some dope interviews I got coming for y'all, and I got a travel blog that I'm putting out once a week. I got educational video that I'm gonna put out once a week also. So there's gonna be a podcast, travel blog, and an educational video. So 3 videos a week, private, because it's a lot of editing that goes into making these videos. But I thank y'all for tuning in. I thank y'all for watching. And for everyone who stayed to the end, I really appreciate it. You guys are great. Thank you. Peace out.